The theme of the 12th shloka of Soundarya Lahari is Sayujyam. It comes from the same dhatu as the word yoga. It is from the yuj dhatu, which means to unite, to bring together. To bring together with what? To bring together how? We'll see. This is a quick pictorial representation of how the Shri Yantra Meru has that one-to-one correlation with the energy system of the human body. So if we were to map that spine, the length of the spine with the vertical length of Shri Yantra Meru like this, it will be a perfect correlation. And especially if somebody is in a perfectly seated posture like Ardha Siddhasana or Padmasana or Sukhasana even, this correlation becomes much more obvious. So Sayujyam is the theme of the 12th shloka. By chanting the shloka, what are the benefits? The siddhi that pertains to the shloka is mastery over speech and mind. So kavitva patima, vak patima, vagdhati, these are the siddhis corresponding to this 12th shloka. The sadhana that is prescribed is to keep this yantra in front, or even better, best of all, keep Shri Yantra in front, or this for this particular shloka. Offer a naivedya of madhu or honey, sit facing east, chant this shloka in a clear way, but not necessarily in the same speed as we are doing it. It can happen at the speed of manas, which is the quickest of them all, for a period of 45 days, and that is when the siddhi is supposed to be delivered to the sadhaka. I'll now chant the words of the shloka without any tune, just as a recital. Then we'll look at how to chant it in tune. So repeat after me. The first word is Tvadiyam. Tvadiyam Soundaryam Tuhina Giri Kanye Tulayitum Kavindraha Kalpante Kathamapi. It is not Kadhamapi. Please make sure that you say this as Kathamapi. This one, it is Tha. Kathamapi Virinchi Prabhrutayah. It is not Virinchi Prabhrutayah, not Bhru or Bhri. It is Bhr. R is a vowel. It's a swara in Sanskrit alphabet. It is Virinchi Prabhrutayah. Yada lokautsukya damara lalana. This entire word is split as Yat alokya autsukyat amara lalana. I'll chant the entire compound word slowly. Repeat after me. Yada lokautsukya damara lalana. Once again. Yada lokautsukya damara lalana yanti manasa tapobhir dushprapamapi. It is split as tapobhi dushprapam api. Tapobhir dushprapamapi girisha sayujya padavim. Once again. Tapobhir dushprapamapi girisha sayujya padavim. Right. One more thing to notice here is this sound here is sh. It has a lot of air that comes out. Sh. This one, girisha, is slightly thinner. It is sh. The next one is sa, the thinnest. So sh, sa. Make sure that none of these are mixed up. I'll now read line by line. You can repeat it after me. Tvadiyam Soundaryam Tuhina Giri Kanye Tulayitum Kavindra Kalpante Kathamapi Virinchi Prabhrutayah Yada Lokautsukya Damara Lalana Yanti Manasa Tapobhir dushprapamapi girisha sayujya padavim. Don't worry if you are unable to chant it perfectly now. When I'm posting this as individual shloka videos, I'll leave timestamps to the chant part separately. So you can go back to that timestamp and practice this multiple times before you move on to the meanings, which we are going to come to now. Before we go to the meanings, let me now chant it in tune also, just so that it is a little more melodic and we can relish the rhythm of the shloka some more. Tvadiyam Soundaryam Tuhina Giri Kanye Tulayitum Kavindra Kalpante Kathamapi Virinchi Prabhrutayah Yada Lokautsukya Damara Lalana Yanti Manasa Tapobhir Dushprapamapi Girisha Sayojya Padavim. So now we'll go to the meanings of this shloka. Once again, we'll make use of the beautiful, very easy to understand layer-wise arrangement of all the words in this shloka. This parent layers, these two, the main layers convey the key ideas conveyed in the shloka. All the other words which support that idea are layered one level below. And if there are other more words which describe these, the supporting words further, the words that support the supporting words of the main idea are present one layer below. This is how the layer-wise arrangement goes. Let us now zoom into this arrangement. The two key ideas that are conveyed is Tulayitum Kalpante and Manasa Yanti. So these are the two distinct main ideas which are connected to each other. We'll understand the entire meaning of the shloka. We'll understand individual words and see how the entire meaning comes together once we put all the individual word meanings together. Tulana means comparison. That tolmol, the tulana is from there. Tulya means that which is similar. So tulayitum, which is literally means to draw parallel, to compare. Tulayitum kalpante. Some people attempt to compare and describe in worship of. What do they want to do that tulana of? Kim tulayitum kalpante, ke tulayitum kalpante. Who are these people who want to do that comparison of what? All of those are described in the sub-layers. Who are these people who are trying to compare? Kavindraha, great poets. Kavi roughly is a poet, but again, in Sanskrit language, Kavi is somebody who is wise, who is keen in his insight. Kavindraha, Indraha are the greatest of those Kavis, the great wise ones. Who are those great wise ones? The ones like Virinchi, which means Brahma, Prabhrutayaha are etc. Brahma and others. Brahma and who else? The Trinity, of course. Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra and all the other Devaganas. They try to draw a parallel or a comparison. How do they do that? Kathamapi, by whatever means, with great struggle. Kathamapi is somehow. And this word next is in addressal. This is being said to somebody. Who is it being said to? To Tuhina Giri Kanye, O goddess, who is the Kanya, who is the daughter of Giri, of a hill. Of a hill of what? Tuhina, which means snow. Tuhina, the meaning of Tuhina is snow. Snowy mountain's daughter is Tuhina Giri Kanye. O daughter of the snowy mountain, O daughter of Himalayas, Himavat Putri, O goddess Parvati. This narration is being done to her. What are they attempting to draw a parallel to? Tvadiyam Soundaryam. Tvadiyam means your, Soundaryam is beauty. So this is the entire phrase. The devotee who is chanting this shloka, in this case again Adi Shankaracharya, is addressing the goddess Parvati, telling her, O daughter of the snowy mountain, with great effort, somehow the great wise ones like Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra and others, they attempt to draw a comparison and describe and worship and praise your beauty. Twadiyam Soundaryam. That is the first idea. And then the second phrase in the same shloka says, Manasa Yanti. While there are people like that, great poets, who are trying to compare your beauty with something and grasp it intellectually, that is not explicitly mentioned, but through poetry, by describing, putting it into ideas, what does it mean? It's an intellectual effort to understand the beauty of the goddess. While they are trying to do that somehow with great effort, some people, manasa yanti, with their manas, which again in English language, manas, mind, is very loose, broad translation, but with their manas, which is their whole being, which is through their hearts, through the entire sense of mind, not just intellect, some people attain. Yanti means they beget, they reach. Who are those people? Amara Lalanaha. Amara means immortal, Lalanaha are the celestial maidens who are in service of the goddess. They, while the other intellectual beings are trying to draw parallels and describe her beauty in many, many ways, there are others like the celestial maidens who easily, effortlessly attain through their hearts. What do they attain? Girisha Sayujya Padavim. Padavi is a stature or an abode or a status of what? Padavi of what? Girisha Sayujya. Sayujya, once again as we saw, is being one with Girisha, the Lord of mountains. Lord Shiva himself is Girisha. Girisha Sayujya Padavim. They beget oneness with Lord Shiva himself effortlessly. But what kind of that Padavi is it? What kind of a stature is that? Girisha Sayujya Padavi. It is Tapobhihi Dushprapam. It is that kind of a state which is Dushprapam, which is very hard to attain. Tapobhihi, through great penances and tapas. So that kind of a stature of being one with Lord Shiva himself, which is very hard to attain even by great penances, with their hearts they attain. Who attain? Amara Lalanaha. Those in comparison with Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra, they are not so intellectual in the pursuit. They are not as exalted beings. They are not Kavindras themselves. Still, they attain to the very union of being of being Lord Shiva themselves, because one thing they have in common with Lord Shiva is Yat Aloka Autsukyat. Utsukata means that eagerness, that desire. Utsukata of what? Alokana, to have a glance, have a glimpse. So something that Amara Lalanaha have in common with Lord Shiva is that eagerness to glance, just behold her beauty. So because that unites Lord Shiva, because both Lord Shiva and the celestial maidens who are in her service are eager to glance, just get a glimpse of her beauty, Adi Shankara is saying, when the other intellectual pursuits of drawing parallels and describing the goddess's beauty and capturing it in one's intellect have failed, other celestial maidens who simply attend to her have reached that stature of being one with Lord Shiva himself just by their simple desire and eagerness of beholding her beauty through their hearts. This is the poetic beauty of the. All of these shlokas have three levels of interpretation as we can understand it. One is a very simple word by word poetic level of interpretation. I'll call this the poetic layer of meaning in the shloka. There is a physiological layer of meaning where all of these can be correlated with one's energy system in the body, because the entire, as we saw, the entire Soundarya Lahari and its shlokas work on the energy system, all the 7 chakras in the human body. They are a description of the Shakti within, the energy within all of us, which enables all of our functions, which pours life into us. That Shakti, which is the material manifestation of all the 7 dhatus and everything, with the substratum of it being the consciousness of it being Shiva. So there is the human physiological layer of meaning. First is the poetic layer of meaning, where things are happening in a different plane, where the goddess is in the middle of a milky ocean, all these beautiful, symbolic, fantastical depictions, the poetic meaning. One layer above that is the human correlation, the human layer of interpretation. One layer above that is the cosmic interpretation, where it is Shakti is not somebody who is just within us, it is the same Shakti that functions across all of creation. So there is that cosmic layer of meaning, where we look at Shakti as the entire, just the energy of creation, an aspect of which is within our bodies, which is being given a symbolic, story-like, human-like depiction in all of these poetic brilliances. So we'll try to now, with the same meaning, can be drawn and Anvaya, which is an application, can be done of the same interpretation, same set of words to all these layers of meaning. So to behold and to be in union with Lord Shiva within ourselves, we don't have to do intellectual circus and somehow try to get all the, understand the various faculties within the body and get, the entire magnanimity of how the form of Shakti is within the body. Just through our sheer devotion and with the power of our manas and with being eager in offering service to her, we within ourselves can attain to the state of being one with Shiva. That is the human layer of interpretation to these exact same words. The cosmic layer of meaning, again in creation, the same thing can be extended further, where to get once we realize the nature of the Shakti within ourselves and Shiva within ourselves, we get the entire picture of how creation itself functions. That is the realization of the true nature of the entire creation. So while all of these, now because of our intellectual capabilities, we can still try to get at and understand these words, to get an experiential understanding of the entire tattva of Shakti and Shiva. The best, the simplest, the most beautiful way is through the manas, is what this 12th shloka of Soundarya Lahari conveys, which is what has been described which depicted in this image. So the multiple levels of Shri Yantra are all the different facets of Shakti. This is the Soundarya, the entire, complexity of how Shakti functions. We need not necessarily understand every single angle, every single location, every single layer, the entire geometry, the way it functions, why this particular sequence, all of it. Just by our sheer emotion of being, of wanting to have a glimpse of its splendor through our emotion, we can become one with the, we have the same attribute which Lord Shiva himself has, which is to just glimpse at her beauty. That is the 12th shloka.